Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, we are a minimalist family who is living big with less, and today I am going to be answering all of your questions about minimalism and Christmas and how we do things here in our house. These are just things that work for us, so please feel free to take what you like and leave what you don't. Now, a lot of the questions I received were pertaining to how to talk to families, friends, and kids about having a simplified or more minimalist Christmas. And I actually decided to do a whole video on that, so I'll link that up here if you haven't seen it already. And that should answer all of those questions about how I handle letting friends and family know that we are trying to minimize at Christmas time. So I'm going to get started with all these questions. We'll put them up on the screen. Thank you so much to everybody who sent them in. I love hearing from you, so let's get started. All right, so this first question is, do I declutter toys before Christmas or at all? And the answer is I used to. Every year I would sit down with the kids and we would go through so that we could make room for new toys. However, we're now at the stage where we have a really pared down amount of toys anyway, and my kids are really good at letting things go when they're ready. So I actually find it more helpful to see what they get for Christmas, and then once they've already got the new toys, they sort of have a better idea of what they want to let go of. Question number 2 is, where did I get this cup from? This is one of my favorites. It actually came from TK Maxx last year, and it's made by Portobello Designs, which is, I think, an English company. It's bone china, which is something I really love. I love a cup with a really thin edge. However, I went onto their website and I don't think they make it anymore. So you might just have to keep an eye out. Maybe TK Maxx might have it. My other mug, which I also get lots of questions about, is a gnome mug, which my sister also bought me from TK Maxx this year. So if you're looking, you might still be able to get one of those. Okay, Annie asks about our budget. I'm guessing she means like for all of Christmas. Now, a budget is, like it says, it's personal finance. That means it's personal. So there is no, in my opinion, there is no right amount or wrong amount. If it's really small, but you're working with it and you're not going into debt, you do it. If this is a year of abundance for you and you want to be outrageously generous, you do that too. So for us this year, and it changes from year to year, but for this year, our budget is $1,000 for everything. So that includes all of the special food that we purchase for Christmas, all of our Christmas activities. So we are going to a Christmas spectacular. We will probably go into the city and look at Christmas lights in like the big city, all of those things, teacher gifts for everybody, as well as any donations that we make over this season. So whatever is, I usually set aside some to donate, as well as we, at the end, if I'm seeing, because often I come in under budget, I will send the rest to, places that we feel really strongly about. So that is what we do. I don't budget per child because my children are such different ages. It just makes no sense. So I just budget for the whole season. That's just kind of what works for me. But if you need like a line by line budget, you do you. Go girl. Christy asks, what is my favorite Christmas tradition? This is so hard. I have so many, Christy, so many. For me, when I was growing up, we had a Christmas tape that had Anne Murray on one side and Kenny Rogers on the other side. And my mum used to always put it on when we put up the Christmas tree. And so that tape has now long gone, but through the magic of Apple Music, I have a playlist saved in my library, my iTunes library, with those 2 CDs on it. And so listening to those 2 CDs, as old as they are and as cheesy as they are, I absolutely love that. Christmas lights are a huge thing to me. I absolutely adore them, and so taking my kids to see Christmas lights would also be super, super high on that list. Jay asks, how can you make your holiday meal simpler? And you've been around for any length of time, you will probably be aware that I hate cooking. So I am the pro at simplifying holiday meals. So here are some things we've done in the past that have been really helpful. Obviously, we live in Australia, so it is incredibly hot on Christmas Day. And so for us, a cold lunch, so like a veggie roast that's already been cooked previously, salads, all that sort of thing. And that makes it really easy for people to bring things. That is golden. Getting everyone to bring something shares the load, simplifies everything. Doing something non-traditional, for me, I'm not huge on Christmas foods, like that's not what means Christmas to me. But, you know, so this year we are actually having Christmas Eve dinner with my whole family. I have lots of brothers and sisters, and we're just doing pizza. And we're just going to order it, and we're going to have a big dessert, and everyone's going to open their presents, and it's going to be wonderful. But this just took the pressure off anyone having to cook. Like I said, it is insanely hot here at Christmas time. So being at someone's house with that amount of people and lots of ovens on, it's a recipe for disaster. So this way will make it so much easier. I'm all about the snacks and all the things. Another thing we've done is to have the bigger meal at breakfast time, and we've had like waffles and pancakes and all that sort of thing, which I find is easier to prepare. Again, we're not having the oven on in the heat of the day. I just find it easier to have all of that taken care of in the morning, and then you can move on to something else. Okay, so Desiree, she has asked a question about knowing what toys to get rid of. Obviously, kids, even if we don't buy them, the likelihood that they're going to get new toys is really high. And how do I decide what to keep, especially when you've got lots of good toys? And ultimately, I let my kids decide. What they play with and what they love is what I keep, and what they're ready to let go of is what I let go of. But you could always try like a toy rotation, get out some of the toys that you're not sure that they're using. If they're really good quality toys, another thing I've done in the past is sell them and then give the money back to the kids to purchase something else or to do something together. So that sort of makes it easier for them to let things go. And it also helps you, because if you're getting some of that money back, it's a bit easier to let something go if you're not seeing a huge investment. Just walk out the door. What gifts do I want for Christmas? I actually have a video coming out about this very soon. I'm going to give you my Christmas favorites and what I'm asking for. But the second part of this question is, do we do stockings for our kids? Because we don't have a fireplace or anything like that, stockings aren't as big a deal here in Australia. But I do those little gifts. So the fun bath gel, you know, maybe some fun candies, all that sort of thing. I just wrap it individually because my kids love to open presents, and I put it under the tree. You know, for my older kids, you know, gum, phone chargers, all of those fun little knick-knacky things that I know that they'll enjoy, special pens for school, all of that sort of stocking type stuff I do. I just try and keep it consumable and usable, and hopefully not too much sugar. Okay, Sunny asks, what kind of gifts do I enjoy receiving? To be honest, if it's something I need or an experience, that's obviously really high for me. But anything that shows that someone has thought of me, like my sister bought me this gnome cup because she knows how much I love Christmas, and then I'm really digging the gnomes this year. And so that was really special that she'd seen it and thought of me. Another thing is handwritten letters. If someone sends me a Christmas card, I love it. I love it when someone's taken the time to handwrite me a letter. So this year for my girls' teachers, I've made sure that I actually write them a Christmas card that's meaningful and expresses how thankful I am to them, rather than just like a quick gift tag. Okay, so Martina asked, what is it like celebrating Christmas in a hot country? I only know a hot country. I've never had Christmas somewhere cold. So this is all I know. It's probably very similar to what you do in a lot of ways, as in it's very food centric and family centric. you know, there's a tree and all of that. The things that are different is that obviously it's really hot, so things like swimming and the beach are a big part of Christmas Day here in Australia. If you go to the beach on Christmas Day, it will be full. Lots of people take barbecues. The food is probably slightly different because a lot of people opt for things that you don't have to have the oven on all day. So some people still do a hot lunch or dinner, but lots, you know, have cold meats and salads and all that sort of thing because it's really hot. I would probably say, I don't know if this is just my family, but we tend to sort of graze over the day rather than having big meals, again, just because it's hot. So there you go. Okay, so Anna asks, because I love Christmas so much, which I do I like it at the shops or does it like drain me? I actually quite enjoy going to the shops. I just have a toddler right now, which makes it harder. But I love Christmas music. I love the vibe. I love the decorations. I guess, you know, the busyness, just my own personality makes it a bit crazy, but I do still love it. All right. So Anne asks me a few questions, and the first one is, what do I spend on each child? As I said before, I don't have a set amount per child because our children are different ages, and it, like, what our teenager is asking for is quite different to what my 2-year-old needs. So I just buy what they will love and enjoy, and I don't worry about what the cost is or making it fair. Like, that's just not a thing. It's never been a big deal for my kids, so I can't really offer any help with that. So the second part of her question is, do we buy gifts or experiences? The answer is yes to both, just depending on the year. Last year, the kids got theme park tickets as part of their big present, which we have absolutely loved and used to the max. But it changes from year to year. I'm not like locked in. It has to be no gifts or all experiences or anything like that, just a mixture of them both. Do we do Secret Santa? We have done in the past. With both my family and my husband's family, it tends to be more just about the kids these days, and they're quite small gifts, and so that's just working for us right now. But I love the idea. Would definitely do it again. When I'm going to other people's houses, do I bring a plate of food? Absolutely. I would. I don't know if it was a thing from my mum, but I very rarely go somewhere empty-handed. This next part of her question is about what do we do with vegan food. And so I always offer to take like the vegan version of food. So if we're going to a barbecue, I'll just take our veggie sausages. If we were going to a Christmas dinner, I would offer to bring a veggie roast. The other thing is that lots of things just happen to be vegan. You know, most roast dinners or barbecues will have salads and bread rolls and vegetables already. So all of those foods are predominantly vegan, and so it's usually just those little extra things. Because we've been doing it so long, most of our friends and family are really aware, but I don't make a big deal about it. It's actually, I think it's actually a lot less of a deal than people make it out to be, if you know what I mean. That there's so many things that are either accidentally vegan or there's a really cheap and easy vegan substitute for, so it's super easy to just bring it, eat what's there, that sort of thing. The last part of her question is what keeps me staying on budget. I don't find this a hard thing. I kind of see it as a challenge. How good can we do it while keeping within this budget? So it's not a big deal for me. And we also make the budget after we have sort of looked at what our kids are going to be needing. So for example, last year, our teenager needed a laptop. So that was going to be like $1,000 investment on its own. So obviously the budget for that year was way bigger, but there was a reason for it. So I set a realistic budget. I see it as a challenge to do it the best we possibly can while staying in budget and just make it work. Okay, so Jennifer asks me a question. I think I've answered both of these sort of before. Do I do a purge before Christmas? I'm constantly purging, so probably, but most of the time I wait and see what the kids actually get. So, you know, I don't want to be throwing out swimsuits if they don't end up getting swimsuits from someone. But afterwards, I'll go through and sort of tidy everything up and get rid of anything that we've sort of updated or that sort of thing. And my favorite holiday traditions, as I said before, putting up the tree, Christmas lights, you name it. I actually love the whole thing. They're all my favorites. Shopping, gingerbread houses, the whole thing. Okay, Monica asks, how do we manage like the busyness of the season? And obviously there's parties and events. And the biggest thing is, you know, give your best yes and be willing to say no. So if you're going to say yes, make sure in your heart of hearts it really feels like something you want to do. There's going to be lots of options, but just whatever you want to do is what's important. And, you know, if someone's going to get upset because you can't make every single party, they're probably going to get upset for something else anyway. So tell the truth in kindness is my only advice when it comes to saying no. Okay, Megan asks a question about Christmas decorations and particularly ones that your kids have made. Like, how do you make a decision as to what to keep and what not to keep? Megan, I'm so sorry to hear that you lost those decorations. That must have been heartbreaking. My rule of thumb with any kids' artwork is I always take a photo with them of any creations that they've made. The ones that I particularly like, I keep for me in our like memories box. And then if there's something that they particularly want to keep, I have like a separate little folder for things that I think that they might want to take with them when they leave home, and so I just pop it in there. But like I said, taking the picture, giving it honor and that they've done this beautiful job, but you don't have to hold on to anything, and that those memories of them being little at Christmas time will still be there even if you don't have every single paper plate, angel, or whatever they've brought home from school. So yes, just keep what's really important and your favorite things, and then maybe just take a picture and let the other ones go, and get your kids involved in them showing you what their favorite things were. Annie has asked, what are we planning for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day? So Seth and Ruby, we are a blended family, so they will be spending Christmas Day with their mum and their family there. And so we will have them Christmas Eve, and we are going to my mum's house, and all of my brothers and sisters will be there, and we're having a big dinner, which is lovely. Or most of my brothers and sisters will be there. But unfortunately this year, Caleb is working every single day. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Christmas Eve. So he's working the morning. The kids and I will probably just open presents, and then in the evening we'll have like a dinner and that sort of thing. But we've done this before and it's just as special. We just sort of move what we do to a time that's suitable, which this year will be after 2 o'clock when Caleb finishes work. Okay, Lauren is asking, how do I manage like Christmas shopping? When do I start? Now, this might be a bit controversial, but I actually don't like to buy too early. My kids change their hobbies and that sort of thing, but I do keep a really detailed list really early, and I keep an eye out for those items from about November onwards. And then if something that they've asked for comes on sale, then I'll get it. Otherwise, I sort of really ramp it up from the 1st of December. I always joke that I'm a full-time Prime mum, and that if my kids don't want something from Amazon, that they're not going to get it, which is not true, but I joke with them about it. If I can get it online, I will. It's just really hard for me to shop with a toddler. And I also sort of have a plan in my head heading into that. The great thing about minimalism is a lot of what I'm getting is experiences, so I can just plan those out, pick up the tickets, that sort of thing. So Virginie, I hope I said that right. I'm so sorry if I didn't. She is asking what an Australian Christmas meal looks like. Like, because we're vegan, like what do we have? Here in Australia, lots of us have English heritage, so it's probably very similar to what you guys have, except a lot of it is served cold. So for example, instead of having a hot ham, lots of people have cold ham or cold chicken. But some people obviously still have, you know, ham and turkey and a lamb roast and that sort of thing. Obviously we don't. I make a few veggie roasts heading like the few days before Christmas. That way I can take them with us if we're going somewhere else or if we're just at home. And then I usually do like roast vegetables and a salad with it. This year we're doing pizza at my mum's place, and I'll just order vegan pizza, so it's not a big deal. I'm sure it's probably pretty similar to what you guys have there in England. It's just we serve it cold a lot of the time. Katrina is asking about our plans over the school holidays. So for those who are not in Australia, our big group of holidays, so like our summer break, is over this Christmas period because our school year runs January to December. And to be honest, Katrina, the holidays go like in the blink of an eye for me. Like they're just always so busy. You know, those few weeks leading up to Christmas, we'll be doing a lot of catching up with family, that sort of thing. And then those weeks after Christmas, I have my teenager is going off to a youth camp. We'll probably go and visit with my husband's parents. Lots of play dates. Our theme park passes run right through to the end of January, so we will continue to use those. My kids, I've enrolled them in like a summer reading program at the library, so they'll be keeping on top of that. Lots of parks, lots of swimming. I would say we're out and about a lot of the time in the morning, and then we come back and chill at home in the afternoon. That's sort of how I try and structure our days, because I find if we're home in the morning, the kids have sort of got this pent up energy and then they get a bit ratty by the afternoon. Whereas if we go out, burn off some energy and then come home. So I do try and make like a little routine for us over that break, just because my kids thrive on routine, and so we just try and do things like that. All right. Tennille has asked so many good questions. I'll try and go through them. What gifts do we give our children? So obviously year to year that really changes. As I said, our teenage son wanted to go on this youth summer camp at our church, and so that is his big present. He'll be going to that youth summer camp, but then the rest of it is stuff that he needs. He needs a new desk chair. I've ordered some artwork for his bedroom, other things he needs, swimmers, that sort of thing. Ruby, she has asked a few times for a pair of high top Converse shoes. I'm not sure if they even make them in her size, like in a kid's size, but I'll look into that. She's also given me some other ideas about some art things that she wants and things like that. So I'll just sort that out over the next couple of days. We have like a Converse outlet, so I was hoping that we might be able to drop in there and I can get her to try some on, and we'll just see what happens. Hamish is 2 and he wants a water table, and so to play with outside, and I will order one of those off Amazon. I've already got a few saved there, but something that like he could put little boats in and all that sort of thing. And because it's warm, I just dress him in his swimmers in the morning and then he can play outside all day with those. Winnie is a bit undecided as to what she wants. She's tinkering with the idea of getting her ears pierced, of which we'll obviously pay for that, and get her some nice earrings. And she had some other ideas, but I'm sort of just going to suss her out. There is a small chance I might get some sort of trampoline, like a smaller trampoline for her and Hamish together. I'm not sure. We'll see. As you can see, I'm super organized. Siri has asked for a ukulele, so that is something that we'll probably get for her, because she's been watching tutorials on YouTube and wants to teach herself how to play the ukulele. So that's something for her, and then obviously I'll just fill it out with other things. Some of them want experiences, and there's some shows coming to Brisbane that I think they'd really like. I'd really like to take the girls to see the Cats musical, which comes out on Boxing Day, so that'll probably be part of their Christmas present as well. Another thing that Tennille's mentioning is about how fast it kind of goes if you don't have that big mountain of presents. And so something that I find helpful is just getting people to open a present one by one and really loving and enjoying it. Let them take it out of the box. You don't have to wait till the end. There's no timer on Christmas morning, so if you can let it run and really enjoy things and start playing with them before moving on to the next present, I find that sort of makes the magic go a little bit longer. I'm so sorry if this video is super long, because once I get talking, I just can't stop. Okay, so there's a question here about Santa. So from the get-go, our kids know that it's my husband and I that buy their presents. We do still have Santa things. They go and visit Santa, but they know that is just a fun game. We have an elf on the shelf and the elves do funny things, but the girls actually know that it's me that does it. So we just still play the magic, but they know the truth. this is just something that we've felt to do, especially being a blended family, you know, just trying to keep up, you know, two different stories would get really complicated. I do explain to my kids that Christmas magic is something that's really special, and that lots of parents really love for their kids to think that Santa brings all the presents, or that they play that game, and that we don't want to spoil the game for anyone else. So if they hear someone talking about Santa, they just play along, just like we play along with the elves and that whole thing. And it's never been a problem. My kids love to play pretend. They understand the whole thing. It's just for fun. We obviously are Christians, so Jesus is the centerpiece of our season, but I love the whole magic of it. I think Santa is a wonderful story. Yeah, I've got no problem with it as such. I know that lots of people have different views on it, and whatever you do, whatever's right for you and your kids, that's absolutely fine. This is just what we do. Jane, my sweet friend, has asked, what is my most memorable memory from Christmas of my childhood? This is so hard because obviously I had a pretty magical childhood. My mum went all out, and she used to make like homemade advent calendars with like scavenger hunts that were amazing. I suppose for me, the thing I probably take away the most is spending time with my cousins. I'm really close with my cousins. I still love them, see them regularly, and they were a big part of my Christmas. So they would all come, we would be with my grandparents, there was lots of food, swimming, all that sort of thing. So just spending time with that extended family. And so I still make it a priority to do that with my kids, and I love for them to see their cousins and all of that over that holiday period. So guys, I hope I have answered all of your questions. If you have any questions, if I missed yours, I'm so sorry. Please let me know down below and I'll answer it. Or if you have something that you didn't think of, if you leave it down below, I'll answer it for you. I hope you guys are having the most magical Christmas season. And I hope that you take away that this is just how we do it, and whatever you're doing is probably the most perfect thing for your family. But I'm curious about how other people do things. So I hope that it's been interesting for you. If you're new, we would love to have you subscribe. Here are some other videos we think you might like, and I will catch you guys in the next one.